Are you all right? Hello, Norfolk. If you're in Hunstanton or Hemsby, Snetterton or Swaffham, welcome to part 6 of the A to Z of Norfolk and Norwich. That's the finale. And what better way to get started than our first complaint? Luckily, that also tie in with our first letter, which is V. I've managed to upset a Mr. Marshall from Wigan Hall St. Peter. He's been going, "You're a typical Norwich-centric Norfolkian in that you haven't looked beyond Durham for your inspiration. Could I suggest the Vancouver Quarter for your next film? That's West Norfolk's premier shopping destination." Well, here you are, Mr. Marshall. West Norfolk's premier shopping destination, the Vancouver Quarter. That starts things off at V. And do you know who that's named after? That's George Vancouver, the great English navigator, most famous for mapping the North American west coast from Alaska to Mexico. That's amazing to think that the city of Vancouver is named after a chap from King's Lynn. On to W then. And what's going on? Well, it's Wells next to the sea. That's a huge stretch of beautiful beach backed up by the colourful beach huts. You can stroll into town and hit the amusements. Have yourself a chippy. That's a perfect day out. That's also one of the best places in England for catching crabs. You take it nice and slow though, otherwise those little buggers jump off. Further east along the coast, we have West Runton, and that's famous for the West Runton elephant. That's not actually an elephant, but a steppe mammoth. Back in 1990, local residents, Margaret and Harold, were taking a stroll on the beach and found what looked like a massive bun sticking out of the cliffs. Little did they know it was part of the most complete set of buns of a steppe mammoth that has ever been unearthed in the world. Right there in West Runton. Cool. So that takes us on to X then. That's the trickiest of all letters. So what did we get? Well, good old Craig suggested this. Here you go.
You know who?
No, who's who?
Who? You know who? Who's the Who's Norwich fan?
Who's who, the Who's Norwich fan? And what's he got to do with X?
Well, Who is Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's mum lives in Norfolk. Who plays Wolverine, and Wolverine is one of the X-Men. So X is for the Norwich City supporting X-Men.
Yes, Craig, I'm loving that. That's a cracker. And that moves us nicely on to Y. And I bet a few of you are going, "Is that Yaxham? Is it Yaxham?" I'm sorry, but that's not Yaxham. Even if I do have one of the 124 round towered churches in Norfolk, that's not Yaxham. If it's not Yaxham, then what is it? Do you want to take a guess? Well, if you answered yeah to that question, you'd be correct. That's the River Yare. That's often overlooked whilst talking about the great rivers of the world. The source of this great river is found in the foothills of Durham. That passes through Barnum Broom, cuts round the greatest village in Norfolk of Barford. That join up with the mighty Wensum and Trouse, head on out through the Broads and Brundle, Reedham, before entering the North Sea at Galston. The Yare also give us a story of Billy Bluelight, who in the early 1900s used to arrive just as steamboats were leaving from Bramerton shouting, "My name is Billy Bluelight, my age is 45, I hope to get to Carra Bridge before that boat arrive." Then he'd set off to race the steamboats down the Yare to Norwich. He'd always be there waiting at the end as the boats poured in to receive the plaudits and the copper coins thrown his way. Billy Bluelight, a true Norfolk legend. So here we are at the end. Z, that's the final letter. We've just about made it. So what's it going to be? Let's find out. So if you live in Norfolk and it's your birthday, there's only one place you want to go for a birthday meal. Where's that? Of course it's Zach's. Opened in 1975 in a small caravan close to where Voo Cinema is now. That was so popular that restaurants followed in Yarmouth, Portland, Norwich, and everyone's favourite, the iconic Zach's Mousehold. There's no need to go to America when you can eat at Zach's.
I prefer Mambo Jambo.
I know you do, John, and that's another great place, but that don't start with a Z there. I do love Mambo Jambo, though, so much so I named my kids after the place. Speaking of the kids, they love a trip to the zoo. Banham Zoo, that's a great day out. Mambo, he loves the giraffes, and little Jambo, he loves the snow leopards. So that's it, that's all done. That's a definitive guide to Norfolk and Norwich, complete. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to share it, give us a like, tell your friends about it if you liked it. That's it from me though. I'm off before I start to get too emotional. I'm going to go out for a couple of bears if I could, but I can't, so I'm going to have a couple at home. Bye bye.